Hello, my Teaserking family. Back for football. So earlier I did a economics one. So I'm trying to cover certain points in economics strictly. So I could do the own, if you're looking, what's inflation? So I'm trying to just put those in their own videos. And then we'll do football together. So, time for football. So we've got 4 games. And we've got 4 picks. Now we have the free pick is Kansas City. But let's go through the lines, and the weather, and the injuries. Anything new? I also have a silver thing from Alligator. He was the guest on the Mark McGuire show. So I don't mind it, but really, we just watched 2 Alligator ones. It was the same thing. So there's really nothing to take out of it. A little bit on silver, which I thought was very interesting for us. All right, here we go. Baltimore, 9.5, 43.5. Number hasn't changed. The weather's gotten better for us, less windy. 49ers, 9.5, 50.5. Let's see if there's anything else at the other casinos. 9.5, 9.5. They're all 9.5. No 9s, no 10s. Interesting. We get Detroit, 6.5, 49.5. Oh, up from 48. I see 6s and 6.5. Totals 49.5, 49. I don't get, because I don't know that you're going to get any points from Tampa in this game. Not with the Baker. Baker Mayfield it. I highly doubt it. And Buffalo, 2.5, 45.5. So I hear Mahomes as a dog is 9-1. I'll have to look up what my teaser trends are. Well, it can't be any worse than that. Maybe 10-0. But we don't care. We know how good Mahomes is. Your free play, take Kansas City 8.5. Look at the weather. We've got everybody healthy at Baltimore. Houston, we got 25 degrees, but only 17-mile-an-hour winds. These winds that were in the 20s and have come down to 17. This game's a 4:30 game. It's actually on ABC. I don't know why they just say ESPN. I guess in theory they own them, so they're just calling it that. But it's on ABC. It's on regular TV. Green Bay, the Niners. Everybody's healthy. $57 degrees, 13-mile-an-hour winds. Getting a little windier. And a 70% chance of rain. It's a night game. I'm not sure. Tampa Bay, Detroit's in the dome. We don't care. Everybody's healthy, but Laporta is questionable. But if he played last week, I'm sure he's ready to go. And KC Buffalo, everybody's, well, I don't know. They got Sherfield, so I think their receivers out. They got Sherfield in, and Tony's questionable for KC. And this is 21 degrees and 13 mile an hour in Buffalo. And from what I can tell, it snowed there. But, you know, I would hope they have a tarp down. So that's the line. That's your weather. Look at the injuries. I guess Buffalo's got a lot of guys. Let's see. Houston has a bunch questionable. Some guys questionable with ribs. No, I know I want ribs for dinner. Green Bay, everybody's probable. See here, the questionable's bullshit early in the week, but as he gets closer, they get healthier because it takes 4 or 5 days to recoup from last week. Here's the problem. Buffalo ended up playing Monday, and now they play Sunday. And Tampa Bay played Monday, and now they're playing Sunday. So, in one sense, they get lucky they're not playing Saturday. Huge disadvantage is playing Monday and then having to play Sunday, a playoff game. Very bad by the league to do that. I mean, Green Bay is pretty much ready to go. One linebacker's out I never heard of. Jones, the running back, probable. Watson, the wide receiver, probable. Quay Walker, my guy from Georgia, is probable. Jameer Alexander's questionable, the cornerback. And this is Detroit. Khalif Raymond, the wide receiver's out. Center's fine. The linebacker's fine. So all these guys that were questionable are playing. Laporta, I knew would play if he played last week. I guess Buffalo's got a lot of injuries. Let's see. Linebacker Spector out. Safety out. Cornerback out. Wide receiver out. I never heard of. Couple of questionables. I don't know. Not that many injuries. They made it sound like the whole defense was injured. And then Baltimore, I think, is good because they had a rest. Their problem is going to be they haven't played in 3 weeks. So that's about it there.
still interested in a solar-powered generator? Because pay special attention, because I'm going to do something that... When you get a collapse...
Okay. I'll get to them in a minute. So, you got Houston as the E team. We'll just review it. They score mid-20s. Last week, they put up 45 on Cleveland. Couple of picks. 22 defense. Baltimore with the 20 defense, an 18, scored 30. Minus 9.5. A 20 defense. And you got Stroud against Lamar. Stroud was 23-5, 23 touchdowns, 5. Lamar 24-7. We know he can't throw and he runs more in. Now, we know Lamar chokes in any big game. And he did get over that hump a little by beating the Niners. So I was really impressed with that for him. Little new offense with my Georgia offensive coordinator there, helping out Lamar. This is the problem. Can you trust Stroud? No, at Ohio State, he lost to Michigan twice in Georgia. Didn't win a big game at Ohio. Lamar hasn't won a big game in pros. So this will be interesting. He did sit out the Pitt game. Sat out last week. He's going to go 3 weeks. I don't know what kind of timing he has with receivers. I don't know if he understands what timing is with receivers. This will be interesting. It's very hard to play teams that have sat out the last week, then had the bye. So, in effect, haven't played in 3 weeks. So, Frisco and Baltimore are a little bit leery there. I think Frisco's okay because they have McCaffrey to run, and you don't need as much timing running the ball as you do a Peyton Manning. That's why he always lost when he took the week off. I don't think he won once. So I think these are both over games. I think Green Bay runs the same offense as the Niners, as the Rams, as Miami. They're all the same Shanahan boys. And there's one other in that crew who I can't think of. So they run the same offense. So they see the Rams twice a year. They beat them 30-23 and lost the last week of the year when they didn't play anybody. So I think Green Bay can score on them. That's the problem when you face a Niner team. With this defense, can they score on you? But I think they can get enough points. I think we can go over. I'm not really worried about it's a warm wind. It's 13 mile an hour, which is okay. These guys can throw the ball pretty good. I worry when it's over 25. Then ain't nobody completing passes. So with that said, Baltimore has been scoring a ton. And Houston, look, they scored on Cleveland. I don't think there'll be problems scoring in this game. It's not that cold, and the winds died down to 17. We'll see what it is tomorrow. This game's at 4:30 tomorrow. The Niners and Green Bay. The Niners 30, the Niners should score. Green Bay, I don't consider to have a great defense, and you really can't look at the Dallas game. although they did put up 32 with Dak Prescott. So I think this game should go over Green Bay and the Niners. So Saturday, tomorrow, I got Baltimore 31-20. We'll see. Maybe it takes Lamar a little bit, but maybe not. Stroud, we don't know what we're going to get from him in a big game. We'll see. We'll find out. We know what we got against Michigan. Not much. Frisco, Green Bay. We have no idea about Love. He did nothing in college. He was at Utah State. This is the first big game he's been in. They did beat Kansas City on the Monday night. So give them credit for that, although I think they lost to the Giants, right? So there you go, inconsistent. How do you lose to the Giants? So I don't think Green Bay can win this game, but it should be high scoring. Again, Baltimore's an A team. The Niners are an A team. Buffalo's an A team. Kansas City is an under team. They're not scoring the 30 points a game they normally get with Mahomes, but they are scoring like low 20s. So it becomes an under team because to be an A, you got to score like 29, 30, and then you give up 20. So you're an A offense and an A defense. Kansas City's not an A offense, even though it's Mahomes. So look for that. So Sunday, we have Tampa, Detroit. I don't see how Tampa stays in this game, although Detroit did choke the second half last week and only put up a field goal on the Rammies. So they're almost like a college team. They get all excited. They get all emotional. Put up 21 in the first half. Don't show up the second half. Got very lucky. This terrible pass interference call that wasn't called. They bailed them out. I just don't see Tampa's offense. They look like shit against Philadelphia. They got a couple, ridiculous long passes. One, the guy's covered, the other guy, the guy's open at the 1 yard line, just threw the ball up, but that got me over, so that was good. I just don't see him scoring a lot here. Under team, 23 defense, but I don't think their defense is all that good. Detroit's an over team with the 27 defense, but I don't think Tampa's got the Jefferson, the CD Lamb, even last week with the Rams, Puka Koopa and whatchamacallit, Coop and what's his name? Coop. Cooper Kupp. But I don't think Tampa's got that. Mike Evans dropped a few balls last week. Brady made those receivers. I don't see Mayfield doing that. He's still injured. Ribs, an ankle. It didn't go away. It didn't get healed. So I think Detroit. I got Detroit 27-17. I just think playing at home and Tampa really can't hurt. The Lions have a terrible secondary, but they can't hurt it. Tampa can't really hurt it. They don't have that style of offense. They have no running either. So give the Lions credit for holding the Rams with a good running attack and a good passing attack to 23 points. So with that said, I don't see how Tampa gets into the 20s. I got Detroit 27-17. I think you can play Detroit, and I think you play under. I don't think you play over. Tampa's with a good defense. Detroit, good offense, but it's the playoffs. We know Goff's going to choke. We got a lot of choking quarterbacks this week. And the last game, we got Kansas City, an under team with a great defense. Buffalo with an A team with a good defense, a 20 defense. Mahomes and Allen, 13-mile-an-hour winds. That's nothing. They had snow, but the field should be tarped. It's funny, the crowd in the city's like trying to get people to come and clean it. Like, go hire people. What are you crazy? Who's going to come out in freezing cold to do 80,000 seat stadium? And who knows if they even pay these people. So I got KC 23-20. Good quarterbacks, good offenses. They'll find a way to score. This will be a close game. I think KC wins with Mahomes. Close at the end, Mahomes will win. Yeah, I know he's got trouble with the receivers, but believe me, a playoff game, even Tony might catch a few balls and surprise us. It's all going to Kelsey, and they got Pacheco to run it. Chocolatey Claire will be there, so you can swing him out as a wide receiver. Don't kid yourself. They go to another tight end then. Somebody else who can catch. So Baltimore, I think, has trouble but wins because Lamar is the biggest choke. Green Bay, Frisco, you got Love and Purdy. Purdy played well last year until he got hurt. Love, we have no idea. Big game against Dallas. Okay. Yep, no question. But he lost to the Giants. I mean, you got to look at everything, right? So we're trying to figure out, is he going to play or is he going to choke? We really don't know. So I think I'm going over with the game. It's not like I got Aaron Rodgers where I'm going to, I got 15 points. I'm betting Aaron Rodgers. I don't know what I got with Love. I do like he came to Detroit and kicked their ass. And he beat Kansas City. How do you lose to the Giants? So that's where I'm at. They could win, but that's why I go over. When I really have a hard time struggling on, Frisco should win. I can't imagine they're going to lose. 9.5 is a big number. I can take 15, but I don't want to bet against the Niners because they beat you 45-0 when they beat you. Over under 50, I go down to 44. And I got two strong offenses. So I see this as a higher scoring game, especially in San Francisco. Warm weather, not too windy. Maybe some rain. We're not sure. So with that said, I got 34-24 Niners. That's 58. I need 44. And it could be higher than that. So that's okay. See, in the first two games, I'm avoiding the upset. I can't bet Lamar. He can't win a playoff game. He just is a choke. He's not a good quarterback. And when he gets in against good defenses, now he is getting a break. They're playing Houston, who doesn't have the best defense, right? And they are at Baltimore. So he could get a win there. He ain't beating Kansas City. Or if Buffalo beats KC, he's not beating Buffalo. But he ain't beating Mahomes. They have a strong defense, and they have Mahomes, by the way. So it's KC in the Super Bowl. Probably against the Niners is my guess. So like I said, so those two, Detroit, I think, should beat Tampa. I don't think they can match up well, score enough points to get it. So I'm scared of going over. I think Detroit I got 27-17. So 44, I could get there barely. Not like Frisco. I'm looking at a 60-point game, and I need 40. I need 44. Or Baltimore, I'm looking at a 50-point game. I need 38. That's ridiculous. KC Buffalo, I don't want to fuck around with the totals. I just want to play Kansas City in 8.5. That's your free pick. I just want Kansas City because I know they're going to win. Why fuck around with the total? they win, but I had over and it went under or something. So if you have a feel for the game, play the game. If you don't, then look for the over-under. So in Detroit, Tampa, I just don't think Tampa can score. They're not explosive. If this was Detroit, Green Bay, I'd be betting it over. Detroit, Baltimore, I bet that one over when they played. And I just got there. And the last touchdown by Baltimore is they were beating them 86-0. So I got Detroit to win at home, only because it's at home, and KC because it's Mahomes. And then that'll get us to the next. In a teaser, Tampa Bay is 15-3, and Baltimore is 14-3. So you would bet Baltimore and you would bet Tampa straight up in the teaser. And that might win. The Tampa Bay and 13 could win. I'm not saying it won't. I like Detroit better on just to win the game. And actually play against this Kansas City at 15-3, but that whole 18, they're not I think they're dog one time. It's a whole different animal when they're a dog. So there you go. So it should be Baltimore against Kansas City next week, and the Niners hosting Detroit. And that'll be the end of Detroit, and that'll be the end of Lamar. It should be Frisco and Kansas City. And I'll have to analyze that one. It's hard to beat the Niners. I mean, they're too balanced. With McCaffrey, the hell is it? Well, they got a bone in a tuna can. With McCaffrey and Samuel and Purdy, how do you defend it? Hey, Dr. Football. Texans at Buffalo next week. Was that like the consolation game? Okay. And so give me your explanation. I don't usually let other people do picks down here, but go ahead as long as you can give me the breakdown. I don't want my students betting your stuff and losing money and blaming me. So why do you think Buffalo's going to beat KC? And again, I'm doing teasers, so I got KC in 9 points. That's what I'm looking at. I can't see Houston winning, and I can't see Buffalo winning. And you're calling for them to actually win both games and win. Texans hot. Well, that's a great answer there. Baltimore not. Really? Baltimore's not hot. Didn't they just beat the Niners? And they set everybody against Pittsburgh. That's a stupid comment. It's hot, but Kansas City's not. Okay, that's those are terrible explanations, okay? If you can't break it down into what's going on, that's just stupid. Yeah, I know Baltimore's been on a bye. I get that, but I don't really like Lamar in a playoff game because he sucks in a playoff game. But I don't have any confidence in Houston. You can't trust Stroud. He's never played one, and he lost to Michigan both years. So I don't know. I can trust Stroud. So I got to go over with the game. Not Houston's going to walk into Baltimore. It's never going to happen. You think Stroud's so good because he beat Cleveland and Flacco threw 2 pick sixes? I mean, come on, you're not playing Cleveland. So Don't like your picks. They don't make any sense. CJ, now he's CJ. Won back-to-back elimination games against who? Oh, Cleveland and what was the other one against Indianapolis? Big deal. I love my teasers. That's the point of the class. Point of the class is for me to teach you. What you're doing, you're embarrassing yourself because you're not teaching anything. The way you're picking is like, it doesn't make any sense. So anyway, those are my scores. So 31-20 Baltimore, 34-24 Frisco, 27-17 Detroit, and 23-20 Kansas City. And I hear Buffalo's got a lot of injuries, but big deal. Kansas City doesn't have any wide receivers, but they do have Mahomes, and that's worth a lot of points. So I think McCaffrey wins for Frisco. I think Mahomes wins. I don't really like Goff. He's a bigger choke than Lamar. But Mayfield, I can't really, it's just a bad game, Tampa and Detroit. And Detroit plays like it's college. They get a lot of energy. But look what happened in the second half last week. They got 3 points in the second half. And if they don't get if they get called for the pass interference, which is a horrible no call, then it's the Rams here. So I don't trust Detroit. Tampa, I can't trust. I mean, they won, 9 games in that division? I can't. I mean, come on. Their coach sucks. I don't like Houston's coach. I don't like Harbaugh, but I like the Georgia offensive coordinator for Baltimore. I'll give him that. He's 2-time national title winner. So I'm going with Baltimore because of their offensive coordinator. And then Green Bay, we don't know about Love. There's too many. I've never seen such bad quarterbacking here that you only know Mahomes. There's no Joe Burrow. There's nothing else. Aaron Rodgers isn't in here. It's really ridiculous. We got Stroud and Love. Like, what are we supposed to do with them? And Mayfield, and okay, Allen's all right, but some guy said, "Oh, he's a surefire Hall of Famer." And I'm like, "You've got to be kidding! Why? All his playoff wins or his Super Bowl wins? Like he's a playoff because of what? He runs a lot. I mean, that's silly." All right, so I think that's about it. The weather shouldn't be too bad. Baltimore 17 mile an hour. Look for them to run more, Lamar. Frisco 13 mile an hour, chance of rain. And then Buffalo 13 mile an hour, and they just dumped a bunch of snow on it. So looking at Buffalo's cold weather will not bother KC. They just won in 30-degree below weather. So I think Mahomes gets it. All right. So that's football. Nothing major injury-wise. Now I want to show you something on silver. I'm not going to get much into Alligator and Egon, but we will look at silver because something was interesting that they said on silver today.
On a regular basis, I mean, in large volumes. It was stacked in vaults all over the place. Yeah. So yes. Aside from Shane, we have a lot of people who
including Bobby
as a protection. Yeah. And so your thoughts on silver as a transactional medium, for example?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would say is that silver seems to me to be a thoroughly rigged market. It is the best conductor it is, I think, more than lithium almost, the must-have metal for, this fossil-free future, for all the power generation, the solar panel, whatever. Silver is going to continue to be in huge, huge demand. The way that this price rigging works, it seems to me, is that the big buyers, the processors, as it were, they will take silver direct from the mines in the form of doré. And I think China is probably guilty of this. I mean, when I say guilty, of course, this is the way they would do it to get the best value out of it, because it is essentially an industrial metal. I mean, this, it's been demonetized. It's demonetized basically in the wake of the Franco-Prussian War in the 1870s. But which is why instead of the gold-silver ratio being in the region of sort of 15, we're now looking at close to 90. But the way in which this works is that doré and even silver bars are delivered in quantity, not through the market, but by going directly to the producers and queuing up. And they do the same with gold as well, incidentally. Queuing up and then, if you like, paying a price which depends on the paper market. And guess what? You can rig the paper market and keep the price down. This is actually a problem throughout the entire commodity complex. It's just that it's more visible with silver than almost anything else. People think that markets are efficient and they work and all the rest of it.
Now when they're
you're looking at the prices being set by the marginal demand and supply. But if the demand and supply isn't actually going through the market, and the demand and supply in the market is purely for paper, then this is not necessarily the correct price. The other thing I would say is that silver, while it has been demonetized officially, I mean, you won't get a central bank accumulating silver as part of its reserves. That's really what I mean. But it has always been, if you like, regarded as the metal, the money for smaller quantities. And I think in English law, going back to the 19th century, we were looking at something like silver was acceptable money for amounts of under £10. So that's the sort of relationship that it has with gold. And on that basis, I think that as the paper, our fiat currency system comes under attack, then we will see a tendency for people to, if you like, begin to price some moneyness back into silver. And it tends to be twice as volatile, roughly, as gold. So if the gold price is going up, in other words, paper is going into the toilet, I think you'll find that the price of silver will probably go up almost twice as quickly. We need to, I think, conquer this $2,000 level in gold. Once we're clear of that, I think the world and his wife is going to turn around and say, we haven't got any gold. What's going on? Should we have some? What's it all about? Why? Yeah. And, they don't want to miss the boat. They don't, and they probably sold it. They probably sold it at, say, 1880, something you mentioned earlier, or whatever. I mean, if you're Gordon Brown, you sold it at $250. But anyway, we'll pass over that one. Well, I mean, look, he's a Keynesian. He was taught his Keynesian economics by who was the chap who was his chancellor, ex-Goldman Sachs guy, who's now anyway. He was taught,
yes, I know who you mean.
Ed Balls, that's it, Ed Balls. Ed Balls, who used to write. He used to write for the Financial Times. He was, along with that guy Wolf. He was just absolute Keynesian, denied Say's law, the whole thing. And that's where Gordon Brown got it all from. So that's why he sold gold at $250. And that's why he sold the IMF in the wake of the great financial crisis, to reduce its gold, to give the proceeds to countries which had suffered from the great financial crisis, like sort of emerging markets and all the rest of it. And they sold it, most of it, to India. But anyway, that's by the by. So, where can one go with all this? I mean, I hate the idea of a collapse of fiat currencies, Andrew, because it is going to impact on everybody. But the longer this goes on, the worse the whole situation is. We're losing our freedoms, which are all part of the suppression, if you like, of the symptoms of the mess that governments are creating. This power has to be effectively taken from them by reality. And so in that sense, I would welcome an end to this charade. And let's just get some sound money back. And incidentally, Russia are in a position to do this. They can do this. Think Russian for a moment. You're a businessman in Russia. Sound money means that you know what you're going to be paid for. You can do your planning. And what happens to interest rates? At the moment, they're 16%. What happens to interest rates under a gold, with a proper working gold standard? Well, the answer is they come down to something like 2 or 3%. I mean, sense is going to come back into the Russian economy. And not only that, but the level of income tax is 13%. I said 1.3, not 3.0, 1.3, rising to a maximum of 1.5%. I mean, and government debt to GDP. Do they have a debt crisis? In spite of this huge great war in Ukraine, their debt to GDP this year is going to be a horrific 22%, which compares with America at 125, I think going on 140.
Exactly. Exactly.
Where's the better place? Where's the ruble? And this is another very, very important point about the only thing backing these fiat currencies is faith in them. Mm-hmm. The underlying dynamics for the ruble are undoubtedly far better than they are for the dollar because of the numbers I just created, just quoted. But, what's the ruble worth? They're 91 or 92 of them to the dollar. And I mean, shortly before we were looking at sort of 1 cent each. It's got no credibility whatsoever. Mm-hmm. The difference between the dollar and the ruble is faith. It's faith. Lack of faith in the ruble for understandable reasons, but too much faith in the dollar for reasons which are beyond, beyond understanding. So it's faith, not quantity, that matters in this. And I think I would urge everybody to begin to understand that.
Alistair, I think this is all about when one wants to take responsibility for ourselves, and each and every one of us has the duty to take responsibility for.
Yeah. So what he said, which is the whole point of the silver, was so what he said was about the price fixing, right? Silver, what they do is, so let's say you're Tesla and you need silver for you're making electric batteries for the car. So what he's saying is, instead of they go right to the mine for it, would be like you going right to Canadian Club, the distillery, and bring a bottle and have them fill your bottle with whiskey instead of having them bottle it and then put it on the shelf and then you buy it at their price. And so they're actually going to the mines and grabbing the silver and then paying them the COMEX price, which is a bullshit price. They don't mind because they're only paying $20, $25 an ounce. The miners are so stupid that it's unbelievable. The miners, the gold and silver, have to be the stupidest people in the world because they're not even like getting a physical okay, I'm going to take this to the grocery store and we're going to figure out the price. We'll put it on the shelf for $50. Does it sell? Or we can see what the other whiskeys sell for. The silver guys are their head so far up their ass, they have no idea what they're doing. So they dig up a bunch of silver. the Chinese or the Russians or whoever come to the mine, say, we'll give you the $25 on COMEX, and they go, oh, that sounds fine. That's fair. Without realizing the $25 has a bunch of derivative paper in it, which makes it not the real price. It's incredibly how stupid these people are. So that's the problem. The COMEX, you've got to get to physical. COMEX has got to be blown up, and you have to have a physical market where people actually put the silver out and somebody bids it, just like eBay, right? But without looking at COMEX. So what do we charge for silver? I don't know. Let's see. All right, here's an ounce. What do how about $50 an ounce? Oh yeah, I'll buy it. See, but COMEX shields it all with its $25 an ounce, so that everybody goes and thinks that's the real price. So these mines sit there, and people are coming right to the mines. Why would the mines sell to the people there? Are they insane? Sorry, I'm going to go sell to my wholesaler, and he's going to market at the grocery store or the mine store what we think is a fair price to get it. So what are these miners? How corrupt are the miners? I mean, that's all I can think of. They're the stupidest people in the world. They're giving away their silver for 25 an ounce. But the point is, as long as there's COMEX, okay, the gold's Basel III, so you have to have physical to do your little derivatives, but you don't need it in silver. And silver's demanded. It's probably fixed because they need silver for the solar panels and the electric vehicle batteries and stuff like that, computers. So it's almost prudent that the government keeps the price low so these people can build it all, because you can't build electric batteries if the silver's $2,000 an ounce. But that's too fucking bad. But that silver's the only thing that works. So they need silver. Silver should be much higher if it's the only thing if it's a monopoly, then why are you selling it so cheap? So I wonder how corrupt it is. Obviously very corrupt. I don't know who really owns the mines and then who's really selling it. But so when the gold starts going up, as it will, because of Russia wanting the gold standard, silver is still money, right? Even though they kind of delisted it, he said in 1870, whatever, silver's still money. Silver and gold are money. So the fact silver is suppressed because they want to be able to make solar panels and batteries with a cheap silver price. Okay, we understand that. And we're not paying a lot for silver. So we bought silver at 25 an ounce. I'm not losing anything on it. However, I want it to be at a real physical market price, a supply-demand physical price, not a paper price. So as long as this COMEX is going on with the silver, you're not going to see it go up. Now, when gold goes up, as you said, when it starts getting out of 2,000, it goes to 3,000. What'll happen is people will start buying gold because they're going to see the price go up. And when they do, they're going to say, oh, what did we miss? Oh, it really is worth something. And so they'll, as they get into it, the price will go 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. As it does, people won't be able to afford it. And they'll go into silver. Oh, well, silver. Oh, that's money too. That's $25 an ounce. And they'll start buying, and it'll go, as you said, it goes up much quicker. Well, it goes up quicker because it's 25 versus 2,000. But it should be about 10 to 15 to 1, not 90 to 1. And again, it's price fixed. And because it helps with these electric batteries and the computers and everything else you put silver in, because it's an industrial metal, where gold's really not. Gold's too expensive. It could be an industrial metal. It certainly should be because it's indestructible. But let's say, silver is destructible. Anyway, huge demand. There's not a big supply of it. Only what, 500,000? What did I say? 500. There's 550,000 tons of silver, so that ain't a lot. And then the problem is when they put it in the battery of the car, it's gone. It doesn't come back. You got to then replace it. It wears out. Silver wears out, gold doesn't. That's not a lot, and especially in the use. But we got to get away from this whole COMEX. So when it blows up for gold, we got to blow it up for silver. So that's what we're waiting for. When gold goes up, as I told you, silver will follow, but gold's got to go up first. And we've got to get away from them buying directly from the mines. I've never heard I've never heard wholesale. It'd be like us going, oh, I need clothes. I go to what, China, where the ladies in the back room making my shirt and buying them from there. Yeah, you cut the middlemen out. So in silver, they can sell it cheaper because they don't have to, wherever they take it from the mine to wherever, I assume a vault. So really, are the silver miners that stupid, or is it all corrupt and fixed, and the mafia runs the mine and basically, but you would think they'd want a higher price, wouldn't you? So I don't know that makes sense. The owner of the mine, you think, would want a higher price. So I don't really understand what that is. But anyway, I saw that, and it's the first time I really heard that, where I knew it goes through COMEX, but I didn't know that the Chinese go right to the mines and buy it. So, but they still want, and then I was surprised central banks don't buy silver. That's another surprise because it is money. And at the end of the day, when the dollar goes out, you want to be in gold, but you want to be in silver too. So a little surprise there. But again, we didn't pay a lot for it. So we will see what happens. I'm still expecting it to go up because you won't be able to afford gold. And so silver will move. And then can you break silver out of COMEX where they don't go to the mine? So this will be, I'm a little bit wait and see on this. So we will see. But again, you didn't pay a lot for silver. It's not like we paid 500 an ounce. It's worth 25. We're paying 25. So we're paying what it is. That's why I've been buying gold lately more than silver. I have enough silver, but I don't see it moving. Now I understand why. If they're buying it directly from the mine, I want to dig in more on that. That's very bothersome. Who runs the mines and why are they pricing it this cheap? I'll dig into that. That's being stoic, right? And I saw my buddy Julia today, and I said, "How you doing?" And then I said, "Well, looks like the Russian war with Ukraine's over." In this article, Alligator said, basically, the Ukrainian generals without Zelensky are talking to Putin about ending the war. Like, okay, you won. What do you want? Basically, they just want the cities along the Russian border. Not Lviv and Odessa, not Kiev, just the Kharkov and then Donetsk region and whatever that island is. At least I don't think they want Odessa. He said Eastern Russia. And Putin was fine with it. He agreed to it. So uninformally, the war's over. Formally, the war's still going on, but I think it's just about over. So I might actually be flying to St. Pete and not to Turkey in 2 months. I'll have to see. Daria said she had a problem with WhatsApp. So she emailed me yesterday. Got a problem. I'm going today. I'm supposed to be off to rest. I'll go and I guess whoever to the computer store and see what's going on with their WhatsApp. I don't know. I don't think it was working today, but I didn't get an email or a WhatsApp from her. So I went on both. I don't know what's to go on. So I went on both, said, well, I emailed you. Is your WhatsApp okay? And then I did the same thing on the email. I said, I WhatsApped you. How did everything go? So I don't know. Maybe the phone will be in there for a while getting fixed. I don't know. My WhatsApp works, so it's very confusing why hers doesn't. But she did send me the email that she's going to the store and everything else. So I don't know what it is, but we will see. So I don't know. Like I said, my WhatsApp works. It works with Jenna in Ukraine. So I really am confused by why Daria is having a problem, unless it's something in Russia or it's her phone, or because I don't think it's WhatsApp per se, unless it's what WhatsApp and WhatsApp in Russia or something. I don't know. Anyway, I should hear something, I assume, this weekend. So I just wanted to touch base with you on the silver. That's going to take a little longer. It's going to, when gold starts going, which we figure between the second and third quarter this year, when that starts going, the silver will start going. People will want to buy people won't buy gold till it starts going up. And they won't understand why it's going up. And they don't care. They just see it going up and they're going to say, oh, I can do a get rich quick scheme like in Bitcoin. So now I'm going to jump on gold. It's 3,000. It's 3,500. Oh, I better jump in it. And everybody will jump and will raise the price. And then people won't be able to afford it. And then they'll turn to silver going, yeah, that's money too. And then silver will start going up. But it's very, they're both very manipulated, but gold's different. It's a tier one. It's a Basel 3 asset, a tier one asset that says it's an asset, and you must back the derivatives by gold. So why they're still letting silver do this, I don't know. Why any of them are like that, and yet he said all the commodities are like this, where it's all bullshit, price fixed derivatives. I mean, the whole thing needs to be blown up. And as the dollar goes out, it will. I mean, you'll be buying gold to get out of the dollar, and the dollar disappears, and then gold's too expensive, and then here comes silver. So I think silver you get rid of quicker, though. When it starts moving, I think I'm going to turn more silver into gold. I'll pull a Rumpelstiltskin and turn 20 ounces of silver into an ounce or two of gold and go from there. Anyway, so I watched that whole video. It's nothing different than we got from Alligator 2 days ago. Basically the same thing, a little bit different with the war, but basically it's the gold and this and that, and I didn't learn anything I hadn't already known. We'll get into the Mark McGuire stuff tomorrow, or next time I do an economic one. I don't want to mix too much football with econ, but I thought that was a interesting thing, and I know a lot of my football guys do have the silver and gold, would want to know. So that's where we're at with that. Anything else with football or silver gold, please feel free. Anyway, I just realized this is a class. This isn't just a talk show. I'm not Johnny Carson. So I'm trying to teach, even football, I'm trying to show you how to pick the games. And that's why I don't really like when somebody comes on with their picks and they can't back it up. And saying this one team's hot is not a reason to bet them. Not in football. It's all matchups. You're looking at the quarterback and the team, yeah, they're hot, sure. Well, look what happened to Cleveland, right? Cleveland was hot, and then they sat out against Cincinnati, and then they got their ass kicked by Houston. So this is why I don't buy the sitting out. So Cleveland sat out, they lost. I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore loses. I'd be surprised if the Niners lose, but I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore loses. Sitting out Lamar that 3 weeks is just, it's not a real smart move. because we don't want him to get hurt. Then play him the first half and then sit him out. There's no reason to do that. There's no benefit. What Cleveland did, they paid for. They got their ass kicked because they sat out their players. We don't want to get anybody hurt. Oh, okay, good. And you lost by 40 points. Yeah. Thanks for coming. Thanks for playing. Joe Flacco is not the guy you can sit out. He needs all the reps he can get. He's not that good, and he's, 40 years old. Anyway, so who sat who here? Really, what? Cleveland sat and got killed. Miami, I don't think they had to play Buffalo, so that was there. KC, I think, did sit out, but they won. Pitt, I don't think Pitt sat out. Green Bay had to win. I think they beat Minnesota or somebody. Did Dallas sit out? Let's see, week 18. Dallas played Washington. No, they did not. They had to win. Detroit didn't have to win, and they played and they won barely. Green Bay had to win, and they played who? Chicago. Yeah, they won 17-9. They had to win. They played terrible though. The Rams, did they have to win? No, they didn't have to win, but yeah, they didn't play. So they lost. They didn't play their starters, and then it cost them. Philly, it didn't matter. They sat out their guys, even though they could have got the 2 seed, and they got their ass kicked. And Tampa Bay had to beat Carolina, and Tampa Bay won. So the teams that sat, Cleveland lost. Pittsburgh, they played against Baltimore, I think. But I think that, yeah, they had to play. Baltimore again sat. And the others, it doesn't matter. Dallas did play, didn't matter. Green Bay played. Yeah, they had to win Green Bay. So the Lions played, and they got lucky. The Rams sat their guys, and they lost. So the Rams sat and lost. Cleveland sat and lost. Philly sat and lost. And now we got what? Okay, Houston off the Cleveland game. Baltimore sat twice. They'll be very lucky to win. And that's why I'm playing the over in those games. Green Bay didn't sit. Frisco sat and lost to the Rams with the backup quarterbacks playing. And now here you go, a bye last week. So that's 2 weeks of buys and now this. So McCaffrey's okay. He's a running back, but we'll see how it affects them with what's going on. Tampa and Detroit, no, and Kansas and Buffalo, no. So really that's what's going to struggle is Baltimore probably with the 3-week layoff and the Niners with the 3-week layoff. I don't know about upset. Maybe Green Bay can upset them. I don't know. I think at the end of the day they won't, but I think it'll be high scoring. And then Houston, Baltimore, yeah, it's going to be all they can handle. Baltimore, just because Lamar sucks anyway, and you give him 3 weeks off, he won't even be able to hit the right. You won't even know what team to throw to. He's the worst. So that's why I go over on those games because they haven't played, and they should score. Actually, it's kind of the reverse. They should struggle offensively because there's no timing. But I think the Frisco. I think Baltimore will struggle with no timing, but I only need 37 there, so we will see there. So just keep that in mind. You got to look at all these angles. You're not looking at them all. Anyway. I think that's about it. As we get down, there's not as many games. Before we'd go through 60 college and then all the pros and everything. So it's a little bit less. So I think that's it. Watch the way they play. Watch the quarterbacks and see how they play. And that's what you need for next week. So it should be Frisco and Detroit. And it should be Kansas City and Baltimore. And then I would look for Frisco and Kansas City in the Super Bowl. All right, keep an eye on your defense. Keep an eye on the running in the flat. It's funny. I was reading where they think they figured out how to play Hurts on Philadelphia, and if you blitz them, and I've been saying that for 5 years. That's what you do with these running quarterbacks. You blitz them. You blitz Lamar. You can't blitz Burrow or Rodgers or Brady or Mahomes. You can't blitz those guys, but you can, or Herbert, anybody who's good. You blitz the running guys, right? So Lamar you blitz, and C.J. Stroud you blitz, all these new guys you blitz, Richardson you blitz, any of the runnings, you just blitz them, and they're going to be in big trouble. So watch the keys to the game. Anyway, I think that's about it then. I'll be on, 4:30 tomorrow. So I'll probably come on about 11, I think, with the pros. I'll probably do economics after that. Go and hit the pool. I think Chinese tomorrow. I'm getting bored with, I got hamburgers I'm going to cook tonight, but I'm just getting bored with, pull out. I pull out of the freezer a chicken. I pull out of the freezer a hamburger. So I've been a little bit bored by, that's why I get Chinese in the first place, or barbecue. Maybe I'll get the barbecue for Sunday's games. That sounds good. Get some ribs and chicken. Anyway, so that's it. So I'm happy I heard from Daria yesterday. I had this thing in the pool. I always get things in the pool because you're in water. And about sort of expectations. And you meet a girl and you visualize how she'll be. So you're trying to see how they'll be in your world. And they're doing the same to you. Like, oh, it's Howard. Yeah, this is how he'll be in my world. And that's, I thought was a very interesting thing I kind of jumped on. So I think that's our problem, right? You see a girl, you picture her, maybe in a movie, maybe not, maybe just you see a girl in class, in a restaurant, wherever, and you think you put them in your vision, your expectation, and they put you in their expectation. And that's the problem. I don't know what your expectation is, and you don't know what my expectation is. So you got to just let the person be in their expectation, and you got to be in your expectation. So an example is Jenna. When I meet her, Oh wait, you didn't shave, or you don't have your cologne on, or the simplest things. And I didn't think about it. You didn't shave. Well, I don't shave every day. The cologne. I think we're going out. I don't normally put cologne on to go to the store, but in her expectations, in her world, that's how I'm supposed to be, right? I'm supposed to be the neat guy and shave everything and put on my cologne and dress like this, and that's her expectations of me and her world. And mine of her, or mine or Daria are of course different. And that's the real problem, right? You see a girl, but your expectations of the girl or how you envision them is, like, oh, this hair's standing up. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I mean, it's just class. And in her world, she'd be, oh, you gotta, go comb it down, and you gotta look perfect. And I just like, no, I don't. I don't look perfect. I'm not perfect, so I don't look perfect, but I look my best depending on the situation. If we're going to dinner, I'm gonna put cologne on. If we're going to the store, I'm not. But that's what I'm used to. So anyway, I just thought that was something that I stumbled onto in the pool with, like, my expectations of Daria when we meet versus when I am WhatsApping her. So anyway, I hope her WhatsApp's okay. And off we go. So we'll see. It's unusual. Like, I WhatsApped her today. I saw that she got it. It gave the double click, but she says she's not receiving my messages. But it looked like it received, at least on my end. So maybe she hit a setting or something where she doesn't receive me or something. I don't think it's just me, because she was going to the store to check it out. But because I know you can, like, block people and delete people. I know I've done that, but the rest of the people work fine. So no, it wasn't just like me, but she was hurting that she wasn't getting my messages. And I had told her, if that ever happens, email me, then I'll know you're okay, and then I'll email you. So I've been emailing her. Anyway, have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful weekend. I don't know what to do. I want like a snack. I don't have anything to snack on, so I got to figure that out. I was eating bananas, but they're really high in carbs, so I stopped that. So I got just my pita bread and my dark chocolate, and it's like I ran out of popcorn, and I had my omelet for lunch. So I don't have anything to eat. I'm pretty hungry. Anyway, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Free pick is Kansas City, and basically walk you through the picks. So it's the over in the Baltimore game and the San Francisco game, mostly because Houston, not a great defense and should score. Baltimore's been scoring a lot. Green Bay lit up Dallas. I think Green Bay will score a lot, and I think the Niners will score more. Detroit over Tampa, because I don't think Tampa can score in Detroit, not because Detroit's got a good defense. Tampa's offense sucks. And then I like Kansas City over Buffalo, because KC's the better team with the better defense and the better quarterback and the better coach. Pretty simple. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on these new coaches in the NFL, where they go, and it'll be interesting. I would not hire Belichick. He's a bum. I would hire Coach Pete if he wants to be. I thought that would be strange if he went back to New England, right? But I think, they hired that Mayo guy who I think's hired because he's an African, and I'm like, I've never heard of the guy. I heard of him as a player, but he's your coach. And this is where the NFL, it's like, don't do quotas. We need so many of this and so many of that, and It's insane. Just hire the best people. That's all I care about. I don't care what color they are. But don't hire them just because of the color. Hire them because they're the best people, no matter what color. That's how it should be. I always say the best way to end racism is you go up to a person and you say, you're a man, you're a woman. That's it. There's no other, you're Oriental or you're African or you're Spanish or you're this. You're a man, you're a woman. That's it. That's as far deep as it needs to go. And they label it causes the racism. But anyway, I don't really want to go there. Anyway, have a good night. www.teaserking.com.